joining us. Thanks for joining us.
Going. It's Tyler. Welcome back, guys. We're developing a little rapport at this point. You know who I am. Even if you don't like me, you listen to me. So thanks. Welcome back. Tell your friends. Just give us a 5-star. It's just my pen clapping down. Anyways, I'm joined today by Jack Geist. Lucas Scott's going to be out of town, so it's just me and Jack holding it down as the hosts. Enjoy your trip, Lucas. We're going to be talking to Youth League. They're a math rock band based out of Durham, North Carolina. Zach and Jaffar, 2/3 of the trio, made it to talk to us. Mike is in Portland. Enjoy Portland, Mike. It's probably nice. Maybe a little rainy. Multnomah Falls, not bad. Some good bookstores. He lives out there. Anyways, didn't make it. So we talked to them. We talked to Zach and Jaffar. We talked about their first 2 EPs, titled First and Second. We'll talk about the background behind that. We're going to talk about music venues in Wilmington and Durham, particularly ones that Jaffar worked at. We got a little story about Action Bronson and baby wipes that you're going to like to hear. Then we're going to talk about Youth League. We also talked about Youth League's own, beyond their first 2 EPs, their upcoming project. It's going to be released later this year via Wiretap Records. I recommend you go listen to 1999. There's a music video for it. It's out on YouTube. Go watch, go listen. These guys are going to be around. They're going to be playing some festivals this fall. They're going to be playing around locally as well. Keep an eye out for those local dates. You can find Youth League NC on Instagram. Give them a little follow. Go give them some love. Tap in for this great talk. How was the ride over here for you guys? Are you guys in Raleigh?
No, we're in Durham.
Okay.
So at the same time.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
You guys are ready for the Raleigh Durham question?
Circle K for donuts.
Yeah.
Boy stops.
You know, there's a Krispy Kreme like pretty close by.
Is there?
Yeah, the Krispy Kreme.
I was like, we might be a few minutes early, so we're just gonna stop.
Yeah. Donuts are a nice vibe, though.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for coming by. I really appreciate it. And just so we have for listening purposes, Jaffar and then Mike.
All right. So Mike's my brother. He's living in Portland now. Yeah. I'm Zach.
Zach.
Yeah.
Jaffar and Zach. Thank you guys for coming by. You guys came just dive into it. You guys began in Wilmington, 2014.
Yeah, that's correct.
Sounds alright. Yeah.
So what was the process of you guys coming to be together?
We were in different bands for a little bit. I was playing in this other band called Coup de Grace, and Mike and Zach were in bands called Virgin Lung, and we played a good amount of shows together. And when both our bands were breaking up, it kind of just made sense for us to all get together.
I've heard some pretty
stuff.
Great stories about this, shows in Wilmington. You guys have any favorite venues out there?
Yeah. Reggie's is probably our favorite one that we play at the most. There used to be a venue that Jaffar used to work at. That's kind of how we met. It was in this place called Soapbox that he was a bar manager at, right?
No, I did booking. I bartended there
for
about 5 years, and actually, both Mike and Zach, me and Mike worked at Reggie's.
Yeah,
for a little bit.
Yeah, so probably those 2 places, but Soapbox isn't around anymore. It's like a Waffle House now.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Damn. That sounds like the natural progression of what they do to play.
It was a 3-story venue. It was amazing. The first floor was a laundromat and a bar and a music venue, about 150 capacity. Second floor was a tattoo shop, and third floor was the main venue, 500 capacity with 2 bars. And actually, there was a bar in the basement as well. There was a comedy lounge.
Oh yeah.
Did you say there was a bar in the laundromat?
Yeah.
Why?
You could do your laundry while you're just hanging out.
I mean, I would get fucked up doing
Yeah.
my laundry.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
I don't know why more people don't do that.
No, a lot of people didn't, and it was a way to get into shows for free. If you just brought your laundry with you and be like, hey, I'm not here to see the show, I just need you to do my laundry.
I gotta
and
wait.
Then well, now I get to see the show for free.
Oh, that's cool.
Damn.
And now it's a 3-story Waffle House.
It's a 1-story Waffle House, and the rest of it is basically condemned.
Yeah.
Okay.
How old is that building? Are there some ghosts in there upstairs?
Terribly old. It's
Because I know
haunted.
Wilmington.
It's so haunted.
That's not the
Yeah.
building that what's his name got shot in, is it?
Nah, that was down the street. That was
okay. That's a relief.
another place.
Oh, it was like they were filming a movie.
It was the Crow.
Yeah, it was the Crow.
Brandon Lee?
Yeah.
Brandon Lee got shot there?
It wasn't that building.
It was another bar that I worked at, just on the same street though.
Yeah.
I don't think it was a conspiracy.
Nope.
I've heard some. I've actually heard like one of my friends used to like be a chef in Wilmington. And he said there was like, well, he claimed that there was some like tunnels underneath the city.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah,
were
yeah.
haunted and stuff. But
I think-
we're not a haunted podcast, but
Yet.
yeah, not yet.
You said you were a bartender. Do you have any favorite drinks you like to make?
Just no.
No. You don't want to do it? You don't want to
Just whatever, just like gets the person happy and
Out of
out of my face.
Here's just the beer.
Yeah.
Oh,
Here's
yeah.
PBR, here you
That's quick. Yeah.
go. Yeah.
Did you guys move together all? Or like-
Yeah. We initially had just put out our second record, and we had signed with a label that was in Durham, and we wanted it to be in the Triangle to kind of help us like tour more, because like Wilmington's so isolated that if you wanted to go anywhere, it was just like a 2-hour drive. It's a huge commitment if you're not staying overnight, and it kind of sucked. So we were like, well, we'll move to the Triangle, and that way it'll make it easier for touring, and like we can also just like cover more ground.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the reason why we moved up here. It was we originally thinking of maybe Philly or Durham, and then we settled on Durham.
Damn. That would have been a vastly different move, Philly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we all like Philly a lot.
I love Philly.
Jaffar's from up north, from like upstate New York and stuff. So
Okay. And Philly has a pretty great music scene.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so you guys have probably played up there some.
Yeah, we've played up there a few times.
Nice. So the first two EPs you guys released, first and second,
Yeah.
pretty simple name titles.
Yeah.
I don't know, any thoughts on like what was the thought process upon naming those? Just like we're gonna put it out, or any like? I mean, I like it. Just kind of curious.
I think it was just like our first collective writing stuff that we had put out was like the first EP, and we just called it first EP. And then when we didn't have like another full length, we just did another EP. We're just like, well, I'll just call it second EP. Yeah. And it kind of hints at. I mean, I'm sure a bunch of bands do it, but for us, it was more hinting at Mock Orange, a band that we really like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Had put out a record called First EP, and we just kind of, I don't know, just kind of like a call out to them in a way.
Zeppelin did that. Zeppelin 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Makes it easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys released it. Well, so I was curious because I saw you guys on like at Bandcamp as well. I didn't know if you guys like released it first on there, because I know sometimes like Bandcamp just more artist friendly, or if you guys just released all at the same time, like with in terms of streaming services.
Yeah, I found you guys on iTunes, but the only thing that's available is your single 1999 and your first 2 EPs.
Yeah, our so 1999 is a single off our new record that we're gonna have coming out in September. But the rest of that, whenever that record comes out, it'll be on it, everything. But the other two, well, initially we had released the first EP by ourselves, and we put it on Bandcamp, and then we got the attention of this label in Durham. We like worked out a contract, and then he took it down and like did like a whole like campaign of like pushing it and then like releasing it, like a real release, I guess you could say, just to get more ears on it and stuff. So that it got taken down and then got put back up again.
Okay.
But then he like spent extra money to get it on like other platforms and stuff.
Were you already signed with somebody when you met this record?
No, we were only doing it ourselves. We were. That's kind of how we function. We kind of just like front everything ourselves. The only thing we really look for out of a label is just like PR stuff and just like getting physical copies, more or less like vinyl and stuff. Because that's all we really care about. Because I don't think anybody really buys CDs anymore.
Yeah,
it's like
vinyl's
either streaming or vinyl, you know.
Yeah,
so,
vinyls are cool.
yeah.
So with the vinyl, I didn't even think about the vinyl route, because like I'm intrigued in the distribution of vinyl.
Mhm.
Just been talking like a little bit about this lately. Like I don't know, like so in terms of like, I mean, I guess you have a record label that deals with a lot of that, but like, what is the process of like?
Laying it on wax.
Yeah, exactly.
It takes forever, actually, a bunch of months. Most plants have been backed up in the past couple of years, but it had been like expedited with in 2020. So I think what was like maybe a month or two ago, we put in to get like the plates for our new album. We got the test pressings back last month, and it'll be available in September. So
Yeah.
it's still taking a while.
Yeah. I think it's like typically 5 to 6 months before you get like a physical, like, yeah, your physical copies and stuff. You always get like your test pressing first, because they send that out just to make you listen to it, just to make sure there's no anything funky with it or it sounds weird or whatever. And then once you okay it, then they start the process of actually cutting it. But as far as the actual process of them actually doing that, I have no idea how it works.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's like videos and stuff. I mean, I've seen like a few videos of it. It looks pretty fascinating.
How much control do you have over the creative process of the artifact itself? I mean, it's a record, right?
Mhm.
They're aesthetically pleasing. Usually they have, designs on the record itself and then the album cover. Do you have control over the album cover and then what the record itself looks like through that process?
Yeah.
Yeah, they gave us a bunch of different options on like the color variants for the record, and I think we just went with like just
So they
classic
gave
180.
you options, but
Yeah.
you couldn't be like, I want this to be rainbow colored. They wouldn't do that kind of stuff.
Well, they have those options
Yeah.
on there.
Oh,
Yeah,
they have
there's a
those.
whole different.
There's
There's
like
like a whole
lot
list.
of
millions.
Yeah.
But when you start getting into like different color variants and stuff, it gets more expensive.
Oh,
So like the
nice.
cheaper route is always gonna
Black.
be black.
Yeah.
And then if you want to even go cheaper, you can do like different milligrams of the record.
Did we do it on 180?
Yeah, we did it 180. 180 is
Yeah.
as typical
That's
like
like the
what the
standard.
standard is.
Okay.
And you can usually like when you get a record, you can kind of tell like if it's really thin and kind of floppy, it's probably not 180. It's probably like 150 or something like that. But when you've like a 180, you can feel the thickness of it, and it feels like way more sturdy.
I know a lot of bootleg vinyls have been released because I got duped into buying a Channel Orange vinyl.
Frank Ocean.
Yeah, Frank Ocean never released any vinyls of Channel Orange.
Oh, so it's still a knockoff.
It's a knockoff, but someone
Someone
took the
reissued
master
it
and reissued
yeah.
it, but via vinyl.
Somebody probably reached out to him and then like bought the rights for it or something.
He's like, I'm not gonna do it. Here you go, maybe.
Yeah.
If you pay me enough money.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So you guys now 3 of you. One's in Portland.
Yeah.
How's that work? Like, how's it like? Were you all living here when you recorded for the most recent or
Yeah.
for the upcoming?
Yeah, so we've lived in Durham for 5 years.
5 years, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, we wrote a lot of these songs was gonna come out for a new record over the past couple of years, and then like when COVID came around, we really just like hunkered down and like ironed some details out with it, and then instead of just sitting around and not doing anything, we just decided to be creative and try to work through that and just keep ourselves sane.
Yeah.
So yeah, we basically just recorded it, wrote it all through like mostly of COVID.
So he wasn't in Portland then. When
No,
you were-
he
It
just
was like
moved.
2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay, because we were going to ask you like how he was
How are
recording.
you guys recording this?
Yeah.
Is he laying it down separately after you guys do? Like, that's...
It'll
Yeah.
definitely be a learning curve for us. I know we're gonna be visiting him out there and probably like rehearsing out there a little bit when we want to do stuff out there, and he'll come back and like we have some stuff planned in October, like a little tour that we're gonna be doing. So he's gonna fly back out and we're gonna do the tour. We'll hang out and then he flies back. But we got some stuff in the works for the future and stuff about maybe doing stuff out there and out west and stuff. So
Nice.
it'll be interesting.
I think it's going to work out well since our new label's based out of LA.
Yeah.
That's Wiretap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they'll be able to help us out with like just West Coast dates, because previous tours we've just done like the Eastern Seaboard, which is a lot easier because like all the cities are like way closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like short drives in between shows, as opposed to like West Coast will be like hours and hours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unless you have
Yeah.
an airplane. I mean, people who tour the West Coast use helicopters and airplanes too.
It might be above that.
Alice
So-
Cooper does shows at like casinos, and you see his helicopter sometimes.
Yeah,
I lived in
shit's wild.
Arizona. I mean,
Okay.
he would do a bunch of Arizona casinos.
Oh wow.
And he would just go from one casino to the other, and like they would have a picture with him with a snake on like 5 different casinos. I'm like, this dude is everywhere.
Yeah. I can assure you we don't have Alice Cooper money.
No one has that.
We also don't have a snake.
But Portland's not a bad place to start. You know, if you can start some there, either
Yeah,
go
for
up
sure.
to Seattle or down south.
Yeah.
Oh, please go to Arizona.
Yeah, we actually have some friends out there. One of our friends that lives in like Phoenix, he's got a band out there.
Yeah, Phoenix, Scottsdale, that whole area is money.
I've been to Flagstaff before.
Flagstaff
Yeah.
is not
Yeah.
money. That's not. There's no money.
It's like college town.
I mean, Sedona and Flagstaff together, maybe
Yeah.
some money in that group of people. But that like represents maybe 215,000 people,
Okay.
right? Phoenix is like 6 million.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
That's money. Love that.
I'm
Town.
sure there's a bunch of venues around there too.
There are so many venues, but there's also so many bands.
Yeah.
But house shows were a big thing.
Yeah.
When I lived there, and I was a professor at ASU for 6 years, so I lived there for like 6 years. I would go to these house shows, and they would have bands that charge money for the people that are coming into this house. It was a complete random stranger's house. This guy named Lunchbox owns like 4 houses, and like he has like a constant like thing of shows. So that's the culture out there that I noticed.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm down with
that's
that.
cool.
And that's literally just a small portion of Phoenix too. That's like 6 million people. I maybe saw 400 of them.
Yeah.
You know.
So one question I had from the song "Football Greater Than Football."
Yeah.
Just, are you guys football fans?
Oh yeah.
Do you guys?
Big soccer fans for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
What teams do you guys support? Just if you have any. 'Cause I'm a big football. It just caught my eye, and then I was like, I didn't know if there was gonna be a lyrical message in there, but there was a noise song, right? I don't think that there was any
Yeah,
lyrics
no
on
lyrics,
that
No,
song.
there's no lyrics in it.
And
I'm an Aston Villa fan.
okay, wait, Coutinho. Actually, it's funny that you say that. My dad just sent me a picture the other day of a guy we used to work with who saw Coutinho in an airport, and he plays for Aston Villa now, and he was like, oh, here's me and him. Caught my eye, but I'm a big football fan, so I was just curious, or about if there's any reasoning behind it, or you guys just like football greater than football.
Yeah. I'm a huge Liverpool fan, but I also pull for Chelsea just because they have Pulisic.
Yeah.
But then I try to keep up with like the U.S. men's team. It seems like it's promising.
Better than it
this time
was.
around.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It'll probably break some hearts,
It's only uphill from where it's gone.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm a big fan of football. Just, from what I've seen, it's just people like pretending to be hurt. Like I see a lot of that every time I look
Yeah.
towards the TV. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, they're about to do something cool, and then it gets interrupted, and the guy's like on the ground, like
Yeah, that's like a whole other aspect of playing.
like these guys are great actors.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't think that hurt that bad, but
Yeah,
I
it's
could be
like-
wrong.
They do that a lot because if they feel like they're getting bullied on the field or if they're getting like roughed up, they'll
They'll
eventually
victimize.
start like falling just to let the ref know. Be like, pay attention to me because like stuff has happened to me and you're missing it, kind of deal. It's kind of like a whole different way of playing.
Yeah, but then in basketball, I saw someone get elbowed in the face, and then he just got right back up. The foul wasn't even called on LeBron.
Well,
And
basketball-
LeBron was able to just.
They're actually starting to have more flop. They're like starting to follow soccer, I think, a little bit more in terms of like flopping
LeBron
and
still
diving.
be hitting people in the face.
It's something that doesn't translate as well to
Soccer,
music
I guess.
making.
Yeah.
You can't flop on stage. You just get away with
I
it.
mean, you can.
Yeah, well, you can
I
flop.
mean, Ashley Simpson.
It's
lip
called a
sunk-
train wreck.
Yeah.
She lip sunk on SNL. I mean, that's as close to a train wreck as you can. That's flopping.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
tried to blame her band too. That was
How
great.
do you blame your band?
She's
for
like, oh, they
that?
played the wrong
band-
song. It's
the
like,
band's not
this
playing.
is recorded.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
That's
band's
all
not
what
playing.
happened.
What do you mean? So that's a flop.
I guess you can still do it,
You
just
can
not
flop,
as
yeah.
graceful, you know.
No. That ended her career. That was the end for her. That was it.
So, just like background wise, you guys, so 2 brothers, you guys aren't brothers, but 2 brothers in the band, and then one, who is a brother. How, like, what's just your background? Like, what, like, where you guys grow up making music? Like, how, I don't know, it seems like you've been around music for a long time, Jaffar, in terms of, like, working at venues and stuff. I don't know about, like, you and your brother, what, like, the background for you guys is.
Basically, so both of our parents were musically inclined. My mom played guitar, my dad plays stand-up bass,
Ooh.
and that's kind of how I think that's how we got introduced to music a little bit. And then my brother, he's 5 years older than me, so I'm younger than him, obviously. But he started playing like punk rock bands and stuff, and then over the years, I just kind of, they would have practices at the house, and I would just like be the annoying brother asking him how to show me how to play and stuff. So that kind of helped get me in, like my foot in the door with music and stuff like that.
And so you guys collectively, do you have a pretty shared, like, in terms of music that you listen to, or in terms of like your like influences, I'd say, like pretty shared interests, or?
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
another reason
almost,
why
yeah.
we connected and started youth league as well. So we were both like, both of our bands were done. We both like, all three of us like the same kinds of music, and we're both, or all three on the same page and stuff. So it just makes sense. And we're all like homies and stuff outside of music and stuff too.
Oh, yeah. What kind of music were you guys like? Are you listening to now, or were you listening to when you're in the studio or outside?
Kind of all over the place.
For sure. I think when we were all like getting together, it was a good amount of like Man Rays and Mechanica.
Yeah, a lot of math rock and like kind of like post rock influenced stuff.
Which made sense as to like how we were able to like write together. Yeah.
Yeah, and like since we're a live looping band, like a lot of the influence started off with like Russian Circles, this other band called L1011, and there was another looping band that me and Mike used to listen to a lot called Arma Secreta. But yeah, those are like all live looping bands that we got heavily influenced by.
And what is your like writing process like now? Like as a unit, do you guys like do you guys kind of like when you're, or if you're laying down your tracks, some songs don't have lyrics. If you're like putting it down, are you working together, or are you all putting down separate and then coming together?
We usually will, one of us will have an idea for something, and we just kind of jam on it and just kind of see where it naturally goes.
Is it usually like a riff or a key?
Yeah, it could be a riff from Jaffar like doing a bass line thing, or Mike's doing something, or I have a drum beat or something, and we just kind of approach it that way. And sometimes we'll jam on something for a little bit, and it's like, that's cool, I don't know what we're gonna do with this though. And then like that'll happen again and again with like different things, and then we figure out like, oh wait, some of this stuff can kind of work together. And then like sometimes that comes out to be a song, and sometimes we just naturally just write and just we all just kind of comes together and we write like a whole song. It's like very easy. Sometimes it takes us forever.
Lyrics always come last since it's like the last thing we think about.
Yeah.
Since I'd say we're kind of just like an instrumental band that occasionally has lyrics.
Yeah.
That's pretty
It's like
fun.
an afterthought, like just an extra instrument.
Super Bootsy Collins.
And also it depends too. If we feel like there's too much going on in the song, then we won't do vocals.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I think that's courageous.
And
That's great.
Yeah, and another thing is like, if we feel like we can't pull it off live, then we won't do vocals on it. Because if it's too much going on, and none of us can do any vocal stuff over it, because we're already like.
Because
doing
you're
too
already
much.
doing your instruments. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so as far as those live shows, how often do you find that you put that live show consideration in your work? Is that for every piece? Are there some pieces that you make that are meant to be experienced not live?
We do have
Yeah, actually.
2 songs, maybe that we don't ever play live, that are just album songs.
Yeah.
And what are those 2 songs?
I don't know what they're called. the names of the songs is like the absolute last thing that we think about.
Yeah.
And,
So yeah, it's beyond language.
Yeah.
I get it.
So off the first EP, there's one. It's called ZK Missed Out on Quality Raccoon Time. And the other song's called D minus, and it's on the second EP. And it's the ending of that record. But both of those songs, I think we've played those songs before live, but after like coming up with more material, we started to like not play those songs as much.
I understand.
And you
Kind of
guys-
just felt like at the time, it just felt like the other stuff we were writing was just like more mature, I guess you could say. So we decided to cut it out.
But definitely while we're writing stuff, we have to think about how we're going to be able to do it live.
Yeah.
And one thing we have to take in consideration is like even if something goes wrong, like there's some technical difficulties during the show, or maybe you're just not, like Mike's not feeling up to doing lyrics, we would like to have the songs be like interesting enough that they can survive without lyrics. So even if it's like written with lyrics, it's like if something's going on in that show, we can scrap them and just do it instrumental, and it'll still be engaging.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, interesting. I mean, in terms of the crowds, like they seem pretty receptive to that. They ever like, yo, we want the lyrics? Or are they like...
They don't say that to our face.
Yeah.
Kind of hard over the instruments, I imagine.
Yeah. And since you moved over here, you guys told us a little bit of your favorite like Wilmington venues. Have you developed some more? I've seen you play like looking through your set list like a little bit of 506 a few times.
For sure.
Yeah, we've played there a few times. If you're speaking locally, we've played basically every venue.
Do you have any
Yes.
favorites? In terms of just like
That's a loaded
not
question.
not throw shade at anybody, just like what is like your
Well, actually, I just started at a new music venue in Durham. We opened up this past December called Ruby's on 5 Points. So it's a small little music venue, about 100 capacity, and we played there this past February. And what's great about that being a part of the Durham music scene is that like there wasn't that many places to play. I mean, you had the Pinhook, which is an amazing venue. I love it. But if something's booked there, then you don't really have much for like local bands. Other place that I worked at was Motorco, which is a 500 person room.
Yeah.
So not many local acts are playing there. It's mostly just touring acts.
Yeah.
So it's great to be involved in a place where like smaller bands can play.
Yeah.
So you helped start that up?
I mean, I just worked there.
Worked there.
Ruby
Okay.
on 5 Points.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's like right downtown. If you're familiar with Durham, it's in the 5 Points area, really close to like Bull McKay's, and there's like a tattoo shop over there. And
Oh,
some other
Durham's
spots.
huge. Like,
Yeah.
I've been to parts of Durham, but I can't say I've been to all of Durham.
Yeah,
I like Durham. There was a couple of restaurants I really like there.
yeah, it's a lot of
Toro.
good food.
Yeah, Ruby's is right across the street from Toro.
Okay, word. So it's
Toro.
right. I know it's a tattoo. Three Kings tattoo
Yeah,
shop.
yeah.
Yep. Okay. Very nice.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys said something interesting about lyrics that kind of caught my ear, and the lack of lyrics, more like it. How much do you guys know about like the idea of the Chidai Bardo, or like the space beyond language?
Tell us.
It's like this idea of Timothy Leary. He was really into acid back in the day, and during that time, funk was big, you know. And the idea of the Chidai Bardo was like the white light that's behind your eyes when you're like staring at what you think is God or something else. You lose language, you lose the ability to speak, you can't read, and it's like this step towards your more basal form of like humanity, right? So a lack of lyrics kind of encourages like this enjoyment of music that is closer to the Chidai Bardo than to our waking moment where we have to live in the present and also the past and worry about the future. Can you speak a little bit during your like jams about your jam sessions, maybe about the space that your brain inhabits when you're playing music?
I mean, I've always been drawn towards like instrumental music, I'd say. Since I was a kid, and I played violin in orchestra. And throughout college, I did mostly jazz. So just keeping it instrumental just made sense for me. Also, you can hear how deep my voice is. I can't sing for shit. So,
I mean,
Got that-
that'd
got
be,
that bass.
silky, you know, that the Boys to Men, and
Yeah.
that guy is like, baby, I know you've been cheating on me.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, he's good at it.
He's real good at it. I mean, he made a whole thing. Yeah. So you were drawn more towards instrumental things because you grew up with jazz. What were some of the jazz musicians that you kind of...
A lot of Ornette Coleman, Thelonious Monk, Slim Gallard, Slam Stewart, like Major Holly.
Any Love Train?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's all good stuff for me. Way into it.
And you were upstate New York growing up, you said?
Yeah, in Syracuse.
Oh, real upstate, yeah.
Now, was that stuff that you liked to play, or was that stuff you liked to listen to?
Very much both.
Nice.
Did you? So you were playing in like band in school and stuff then when you were younger?
Mm-hmm.
And so like, did you have any siblings or anything that kind of pushed you towards that, or was it more like you felt like I want to play some music?
No, that was mostly my deal. I have an older sister who played like clarinet when we were kids, but she didn't stick with it. So I was kind of just like branching out on my own and doing stuff.
I mean, we, as a media, like the entire United States kind of treated the clarinet pretty trash.
It's weird. It's like the one instrument that I feel is really lacking in jazz and like newer jazz in the past like just few decades.
Yeah, well, Squidward took up the clarinet in 1990, and ever since then,
Ah.
nobody's wanted to play the clarinet. Like,
I think it sounds dope.
yeah, I mean, I love the clarinet. I like the small saxophone. That's like my favorite sound. Is actually
Yeah.
that alto sax.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good sound. But you did mention funk, and I kind of wanted to hear from your mouth what you think is the parallels between funk and punk.
Funk and punk.
Do you find anything? Do you find your mind inhabiting any of the same spaces?
I mean, a lot of the lifestyle and the fucking aesthetic behind it, I would say, are really parallel between just the, you know.
You said lifestyle, so what about
Yeah.
the lifestyle is parallel for funk and punk?
I mean, it's all just derivative of just rock and roll.
Hmm.
You know, like some Chuck Berry style, like, or the band like Death. Just doing like, just don't care attitude, just going with whatever feels right.
I feel there's a lot of DIY in
Maybe that.
both, probably, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
This personal exploration of the instrument, which turns into an exploration of the soul, right?
Yeah.
In terms of that DIY element, like, are you guys, in terms of like the album art, are you guys making it? Are you somebody you trust to make it, or is it kind of depend? Does it change throughout time?
It has changed. We had a good friend of ours who did a lot of like graphic design stuff. He did like the first two records, and then the new record that's coming out, it's a close friend of ours who does a lot of photography that we really thought was very interesting, and feel like we kind of vibed with it. And he also took like our press photos and stuff like that too. And he's also like a really close good homie as well. Yeah, it just really depends on like what we're thinking. Cause we go back and forth about album stuff, and it takes us a while to like settle on something initially. But once we all agree on it, then
Yeah.
we're on board.
It worked out well for the first two EPs because they were released, you know, a couple years apart. But then when those re-released on vinyl, it was just one side of the first EP and the other side of the second EP. And with using the same artist, it just felt like one cohesive unit.
Yeah.
Like especially with the album artwork.
Yeah,
There's
and,
continuity.
yeah, and then I feel like the songs for both those records work well together. And then like our new records, it's like still works with everything, but it's just a little bit different. Like you can kind of tell that we've grown into like what we're still trying to figure out our sound is. So we're a weird band, and we have a lot of elements of all sorts of genres. Where I feel like we're still exploring our sound.
Yeah.
I'm sure that
ways.
in some ways, I'm sure that exploration will just continue as long as you guys are working together too, right?
Yeah,
Definitely.
for sure.
I mean, music is exploration. No matter if you found your sound like Led Zeppelin, Robert Plant was still trying to figure out what notes he wanted to hit next. You never stop. I don't think it ever stops.
Yeah.
I don't think you ever find a sound, because sound is always transforming. I mean, that's the beauty of music, right? That's the beauty of exploration of soul. You find that the soul is infinite and forever expanding.
Yeah, definitely don't want to make the same album again. So
No.
I hope we're
No,
progressing.
you're not Kenny G. You're not Kenny G. You're not Macklemore.
We're not AC/DC.
Hey, first two were good from them, but they're a little derivative from Led Zeppelin, but still okay.
Yeah.
They had a place.
Yeah, for sure.
They were derivative.
Then I had a question, but it kind of slipped off my tongue.
I had a question about favorite guitarists. You got a top five? Do you have a top five?
Top five, probably like Jay Mascis, up there. Dinosaur Jr.
That's a good one.
for me, and Brian May of Queen. I can't put them in order. I said Jay Mascis first, but so he's one.
I don't know that one. Jay Mascis.
Oh wow, yeah. Dinosaur Jr. rules. They're like a '90s band, right? Even
Yeah.
earlier, actually.
They started
The
like
70s or
late
80s?
80s.
Okay.
They came through maybe
Not too
Cat's
long.
Cradle,
Yeah, not too
last
long ago.
last
Yeah,
year.
last November or December, I was at that show. It was great.
Yeah, a couple
So
of my
these are
friends
people
went, I
that
think,
you've actually seen in person.
Yeah.
Yeah, my top five is made up of people that I can't even conceptualize. You know, it's Eddie Hazel, Jimmy Page, Jimi Hendrix, Van Halen, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
I saw Van Halen, but he was like a skeleton.
Well, he's old. He was old as shit.
No
He could still do the
disrespect.
finger thing. He could still do the thing.
Yeah.
He could still do the thing.
Yeah.
And in an interview, he said that he did that because everyone else had better equipment than him, and this was all he could do in a garage with an amp that would sound like he was gonna get famous. That's what he said. He's like, this is how I competed. He said it wasn't that hard, and then he went on to have like a workshop with everybody. He's like, it's not that hard. You just do this and then this.
Yeah.
Are you guys recording mostly like in studio, or a lot of times you find yourself like playing together and then like, oh shit, we should maybe remember that and loop that back and record it on something?
We definitely write everything, and then once we are satisfied or we think it's where it should be, we just like keep practicing. Once we have enough material is when we go record. And when we record, it's usually with a close friend of ours that we all knew. Like, well, me and Mike knew growing up, and he lives in Nashville now, and he's recorded all 3 of our records. But this time around, with like COVID and stuff, we did it a little differently. Like, we recorded drums with a friend of ours, Curtis, in Raleigh, at this place called Soundtracks, which is like downtown. And then we did everything else at at our friend's like home studio in Oxford, and his name is Scotty. But our friend Aslan, he came down, recorded all the guitar stuff and everything else at Scotty's home studio, and Kurt did the stuff at Soundtracks. But it was a little different experience this time around, just because we were trying to figure out where to record and what was like affordable.
Yeah, it must have been. I mean, kind of have to ask some obligatory pandemic questions, like, you
Yeah.
know, must have like changed the way, like, just the, I mean, like, how did it change the way? I'm sure it changed you as people, but how did that impact the way you're actually making music and the like getting studio space, doing all that? Must have.
It started. We were doing it all at a friend's house. Like, everything was done at one place. And then when the pandemic came through, and then like our friend not being in town anymore because he used to live in Chapel Hill, it just turned into us like trying to figure out where we would record at. Yeah, just like it was more or less like trying to find a decent sounding room for drums, because you want drums to sound, or at least if you're a drummer, you want it to sound a certain way. And just finding a room is like probably the hardest part.
Well, I mean,
that.
You said you did a lot of home studio, right?
Yeah, so like the house
like
we were
styrofoam on the walls to prevent like sound leak.
So it was, yeah, you can. The place that we were recording at was in a friend's house in Chapel Hill, and he had this huge living room that was just sounded like a very dead room, and it was like, it's like a really old house, but it sounded really good in there. So trying to replicate that sounding room, and like we were looking at options, and one option was like a room maybe about this size, and like you could do it in this room, but it would just not. You wouldn't get the sounds you want out of it. You want the drums to sound like huge, and when it's in a compact, dead room, you won't be getting a lot of that, like the air around.
It needs more space to
yeah,
bounce.
you need some of the reverb out of it, natural reverb and stuff like that. Like, you don't want to. You can edit drums and stuff like that, but like you want to get as much natural sound as you possibly can. And that's kind of like why I was like, we need to find like a certain room to get that natural sound out of it.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
That must have been a challenge with the home studio thing, though. I do feel like that's probably going to be the future of you know, recording in like, not now, but in the next 50 years, it's going to be homegrown stuff.
Yeah, I think it's better to do that way, and I feel like you can save a lot more money when you do it yourself, or you have like close friends and do it out of a house, instead of like, even if you get a budget and go to like a proper studio, and it's like, nice, you spent all this money on it, you're never going to recoup any of that money at all. Like, you don't get that much off of streaming sales, and if you're signed to somebody who gives you that budget, you're going to be, until that's paid off, you're not going to get any money out of royalties at all. So it's always better to kind of do it yourself as much as you possibly can, cut the budget down, try not to sacrifice too much of your sound, and I think that's kind of the way you try to make any kind of money off it. I mean, it's hard to make money off of music in general, so
it's happening with hip hop. That's happening more along with hip hop, and I've seen that Dime does it now in hip hop. Eric Jamal actually made it big out of Apartment 505, using that very method, homegrown studio, not paying for any studio time. You know?
Yeah, make a lot more money that way.
It works well for us because we can go, like when we were shopping around for labels, we don't have to ask them for much of anything. It's like, hey, we already have the product done. We just need PR.
Yeah.
You're Walter White in Breaking Bad. You can have 40 pounds of the blue stuff.
Yeah, that's how how we operate. We do everything we can ourselves. Like, record ourselves, do, like, pay for recording, pay for artwork, pay for any kind of thing, like photos to get taken of us and like videos to get made. We do it all ourselves.
On a business aspect, does that kind of limit you in terms of what you can ask from your record label? Or if you're not asking for record space, I imagine in theory they're not paying you for record space, right?
So I mean,
You're not paying them for record space.
But at the same
So
time,
how does
you're
that affect the
quicker,
business
I'd say.
model?
So it's gonna benefit us more because the label doesn't have to spend as much money on other things, and they can focus that more on their PR and more on like getting physical releases, and like, and if you front all that, then the label's not putting that much into it. It's like, well, if you're recovering all this, then you just focus on PR and just get that, and if we get more PR, it's a better chance of like selling more stuff.
So they become a marketing firm.
Basically,
Yeah.
it's basically you're hiring.
Basically,
like,
keep them out of it as much as possible, since we're doing all of it.
Because you're doing the art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're,
Keep them out of the art.
you're like,
Yeah.
are they helping them get the shows and stuff, or like?
they can.
Yeah.
It depends.
They
Like,
have, but like if we could also do that ourselves.
Yeah, you're like,
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
just keep you as like
Yeah.
you do what you do.
they're there for support, for help if you need it, and if you can do as much as you can without them, then you'll benefit. Not saying that having a label is bad. Not saying it's good. It just depends on how you work
Yes.
with them.
Yeah, it's a tool.
Yeah.
And
Depends on
myself,
how you use
having worked in like music venues for the past 15 years, try to keep in contact with a lot of bands that come through, and like all the bands we've been on tour with, like a lot of times we've like gotten those shows through our connections of like staying in contact with people. Like any band that's coming through on tour, we'll be like, hey, you know, we don't need to get paid tonight since it's costing you so much to even come here. How about you take the money? We'll give you a place to stay. Maybe in a couple months when we're in your city,
Yeah.
hook us up with a show.
Yeah.
So then when we're going on long stretches of tours, like I think we had to stay in a hotel like once.
Yeah,
after,
nice.
and like every other time we just like find like different bands or just like people to stay with. Try to keep it at like low cost as possible.
Reduce overhead.
Yeah.
I mean, you are business after all.
Yeah. If you can come back from the tour with any money, even if it's like $20, that's a successful tour.
Oh, okay.
So if you come back, even if you come back even, like, you're good. If you come out under, that's when it's like,
What are we
you gotta start thinking about, like, what you're doing.
Yeah, I had a friend do a tour with the local band from Chicago, and then just he didn't come back the same. Like the band broke apart on the tour.
Yeah, man, tour is a lot. It's fun, but it's also, like, you go through, like, all the emotions.
It's the test, right?
Yeah, you'll get mad at each other, you'll get sad about stuff, you get happy, you get like deliriously happy.
Yeah.
Go from high to low.
Yeah, you laugh till you cry, like you have a good time, and then like you just experience a lot of things. You meet a lot of people, you go to a lot of places you would not go.
Yeah.
And there's no reason for us to go to certain places like Reading, Pennsylvania. There's no reason to go there, but we went there and met people there, and it was like it ended up being an okay time.
An okay time.
Yeah.
A great endorsement for
Reading, Pennsylvania.
Reading,
And
Pennsylvania.
I don't know if anybody's ever been there or if you're from there.
Shout out
but-
all people,
Yeah.
Reading, Pennsylvania.
So you guys have been able to make it through. You guys have been able to lean on each other a little bit then throughout those tours.
Yeah.
I'm sure your friendship's probably,
It helps that we've known each other for a long time, and then
you know when to leave.
like we all respect each other, and we respect our boundaries and stuff, and like if we're ever mad at each other, we try to kind of communicate and talk it out and stuff like that, rather than just like
You guys ever box?
no.
Well, those two probably, they're brothers.
Yeah, that's what I was
when
thinking.
we were younger,
They can fight as much as they want, but they're still
I
gonna
mean,
be brothers.
you're not gonna get an assault charge.
You're still
No.
going to Thanksgiving. Jack's only asking because he wants you to box with him.
No, I'm just saying
He likes
it's a great way to alleviate those frustrations in between two consenting adults.
yeah. If it ever gets to the point where we're like at each other's throat, I think we'll just all just like go separate ways and walk around the city and then meet back up and be like,
Hopefully somewhere bigger.
I
than
can
Reading.
expedite the process there. It's about 30 minutes. You put on gloves. That beef is squashed.
Find somebody on opposite ends of Reading, box them, come back.
Yeah, yeah, you know, set up a fight club in Reading, Pennsylvania, and you can come back with more than $20.
whoever like we'll set up a thing where it's like whoever wants to get in free for the night show, you gotta box one of us.
Yeah,
If you
That's-
win, you get in for free.
That's it.
We'll just not be able to play the show then.
Yeah,
exactly.
We're all gonna get beat up.
You need to get somebody that kind of looks like one of you to like fight.
Yeah, you need a
Stand
ringer.
in.
You need a ringer.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm down with that.
You've been working at musical venues for how long?
15 years.
Lee, do you have any memorable stories of like your most uncomfortable experience at a musical venue?
I can think of one actually. So the venue that we were talking about earlier, the Soapbox, that's now the Waffle House in the bottom.
It's Waffle House.
R.I.P.
We had Action Bronson come through, and we had to announce like right before he went on that he wasn't going to be like
Play.
coming up. So he was on the second floor in the green room, and the floor was bowing because like so many people were just like partying. Everyone was like cheering his name, but the reason why he didn't come on is because in his rider we had forgotten his baby wipes. Like we'd already given him so much money in cash, and we're like, all right, the rest of it's going to be on check. Here's the rest of all the things that you requested on your rider, but we forgot the baby wipes. And he was like, I'm not playing. So we had to go up on stage and be like, hey everyone, go home. Action Bronson's not playing.
Over baby wipes.
Yeah.
Damn. That's
So that was an awkward one.
upsetting because I love fuck that's delicious. Now I have to.
Now I have to, remind him
used
of
to.
this baby. If I ever see him, he's like, you ever get those baby wipes?
The answer is no.
No.
He took the cash and everything else we
I'm
gave
gonna
him
throw
and
baby
left.
wipes at him.
Damn.
I was like, courtesy.
And there's probably no recourse for that, right?
No,
You
it's,
already gave
you
him
broke
money.
the rider's contract,
Yeah.
and you technically broke the contract because you didn't have baby
All right,
wipes.
buddy.
What is that? Like,
Yeah.
it's baby wipes.
Just there's something down there. There's a
I mean, I would have gotten a wet paper towel and been like, these are baby wipes.
Yeah. At that point, you're probably just like, all right, well, we don't need you here.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, do you have any better like happy stories from your like any particular people you really enjoyed or? Really?
Yeah, actually, there was a festival that would happen, same thing at the same place that I was just talking about, called We Fest. It was like a 5-day festival once a year.
Weed Fest?
We Fest.
We Fest.
Yeah, and it was just so much fun. And what's his name? Fucking Jimmy Chamberlain from Smash Pumpkins.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Was that the same year that Modest the Bear played that too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that was a good time.
His newer band at the time, I think they're called Skysaw. They were playing a show there, and my band was playing my old band was playing the first floor. During the day, I was bartending, and I saw him walk through, and I was like losing it because I've been a huge Smash Pumpkins fan since like the early '90s. And I talked to him. I was like, "Yo, you've been like a huge influence of mine." And then I got off my shift and was preparing for my show. Went back to the house. He starts talking to the other my coworkers and be like, "Hey, where's that guy that was here earlier? Is he like doing stuff tonight?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, his band's playing later." So before his show, he came down and watched my show on the first floor. And like as soon as we were done, just like put my bass down, he like walked up on stage. I shook my hand and he was like, "Oh, that was a great show." And I was like, "Yo, you didn't have to do all this." Like, I remember I called my mom, I called my sister, I just met Jimmy Chamberlain. He walked up on stage and said, "Good show." And I was like,
He didn't have to do all of that. You
No,
played
none
a
of
good
it.
show.
Yeah.
he
You
could
played a
have
good
just
show.
gone up to his show. It was on the
Dude,
on the
you
main
know how much
stage.
it probably means to him that you came up to him and said, like, it genuinely said that you have been a big influence to me,
I
and
mean,
you were
maybe
playing
something,
a show
but like
that night.
he's been already popular for decades. I would have thought it meant nothing.
Nah, man, I gotta imagine that's gotta make a guy feel good.
I do what I can.
Yeah.
Reminds him probably why he's doing it.
Yeah.
It's like the paycheck's one thing. The paycheck probably also reminded him why he was doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh, wow. So yeah, both spectrums at the same venue too.
Yeah, I can't believe Action Bronson didn't play over baby wipes.
I kind of can, but I don't know.
Nothing surprises me anymore.
Yeah.
You know anything top of your head, Jack?
No.
The Action Bronson thing, they're
Yeah,
retarded.
yeah. It's, I'm actually struggling to like come to terms with the reality that the person that I think Action Bronson is versus that particular action may not be accurate to what he actually is as a human being.
Which I'm sure, you know.
Yeah, they all say don't meet your idols, but I'll give you like 2 instances where it can be good and bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jimmy Chamberlain, cool. Action Bronson, nah.
I met Jackie Chan when I was 7.
How was that?
He was cool. We signed something of mine. He said, "Keep up the good work, stay in school," and that was it. I mean, he was in Chicago for
Rush Hour,
Rush
maybe?
Hour.
Yeah.
Rush Hour
shit.
1 or 2. Yeah.
I'll never forget. I watched those movies too many times.
Rush Hour was great. Don Cheadle was in town too. I would have much rather have met Don Cheadle than Jackie Chan.
I think he's from Chicago, maybe.
Yeah, Don Cheadle is from
Yeah.
the Chi.
Huh.
Cool.
Interesting. Well, so where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in a little town outside of Raleigh called Sanford.
Sanford, okay.
Yeah.
Sanford and Son.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Fuquay, so
Okay,
it's
yeah.
like trending the same
Yeah.
way.
As soon as I graduated high school, I moved the hell out of there
To Wilmington straight
Yeah.
away.
immediately.
You and your
2007.
brother?
My brother was living in Greensboro at the time, playing in other bands and stuff too. And I'd go up there and see him every once in a while. And then he decided to move down to Wilmington. And then when he did, me and him started playing together. And that's when we started Virgin Long with some other friends of ours.
And so in Sanford, I can't imagine there were too many shows going on.
Actually, it was kind of crazy. I think it was Curtis, or maybe somebody else, but I think it was Curtis mostly. But he was getting like really cool bands to come through every once in a while, and there'd be really good shows there. And I mean, there are bands that probably nobody knows about, but I remember seeing like Thunderlip a few times in Sanford. Sin Mechanica played a few times. Sin Mechanica was like kind of a huge influence on all of us too. One of the first bands I've ever seen do double drumming and like be like very rhythmic with it and like very interesting, really cool. Yeah, but those were like two bands that I remember seeing them and just being like, why are you playing in Sanford?
The double drumming aspect is hard.
Yeah, that band's insane. You should look him up.
I mean, I know, like, yeah, there's just not many bands that do it too well.
No.
Two drummers?
Yeah, like in like a mathy way and like rhythmic mathy and stuff. Like
They have
it's
a duel?
sick.
Like the two drummers dueling each other?
Not really. It's more or less like one like they're playing like the same beat, and then one will break off and do like a drum fill thing while the other person keeps beat, and when the other person finishes their roll, then the other person does like a thing.
That's a very big band.
It's kind of like call and response.
Yeah, that's a very
Yeah,
big band. It's
sick.
like Buddy Rich
Yeah.
out of Caravan.
Yeah.
Like straight shit like that.
Yeah, like my grandfather was like a jazz drummer, and he really liked Gene Cooper a lot.
I was a jazz pianist for like 6 years.
It's a lot of
People
notes.
just- I mean, there are no wrong notes.
Yeah,
It's all just one thing.
yeah,
Well, you guys both grew up, you all grew up with heavy jazz then. Your
Mhm.
grandfather.
yeah.
Yeah.
I actually have his old kit he used to play.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, from the 50s. Yeah, it's sick. It's cool.
Damn.
Any of you ever get into gospel?
No, but I've seen some of the you ever watch the Gospel Chop stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane.
Gospel.
They're not human.
Yeah. Gospel to funk, I think, is probably the next transition that needs to be made in music.
Okay.
I'm still waiting for someone to do it, but gospel. I thought Chance was gonna do it.
Gospel to funk.
Gospel to funk. I mean, Stevie Wonder kind of did it, but
He still has, I guess, chance if you, he could still have time for that.
He wrote an album about loving his wife. His
He
career's over.
He did do that.
That's
Forgot
done.
about that.
Yeah, it's done.
I don't know if it's done, but you're from Chicago.
Nobody wants to listen.
I like Chicago a lot. I like that place.
Did you guys play there? Played there?
No, we haven't played. Well, I've played there before. I fill in sometimes.
Double Doors is good. Blue Room is good. Lava Love Lounge is good.
We played at not this band, but I was filling in for another band. We played at this place called Subterranean.
Mm-hmm.
That was a cool spot. But I mean, I've been to Chicago twice. Once in February, and the other time was in April, and I loved it both times.
Yeah.
It was like a foot of snow on the ground. I didn't care.
I went to a show at the Double Door with this chick. I told her I was 18, I was 16, she was 25.
Oh God.
Horrible times.
How did that come to be?
What do you mean, how did it come to be? She was the older sister of someone that I knew, and then someone flaked out on the show, so I ended up going to that show.
Okay, so you answered how it came to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I had to jog my memory. It's been a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's 12 years.
Yeah.
Now she's, yeah.
Great venues in Chicago, and a lot of great venues here, but
There's a lot of good music in Chicago. There's a lot of bands that
There
I
used
like
to
a
be.
lot from that area. There's one band in particular that I've been listening to, and I won't stop listening to it because I just like the way he writes. This band called Into It Over It.
into it over it.
They're a really good band.
Yeah, we got the chance to play with them a few years ago.
That was at 506. Yeah,
That's great.
One of the forefathers of punk rock in Chicago was Lucky Boys Confusion. If you ever hear about that
Yeah.
band,
They
Lucky
used to
Boys.
come through in college when I went to school. I was up in Penn State.
Yeah, they are a good band that didn't want to be like stratospheric. They just wanted to tour. They're cool. I like those guys. And then it was Dear Noel, which is a band, and then You, Me, and Everyone We Know.
That name sounds familiar.
Yeah.
That's
Those
also the name of the movie.
Oh.
Is that movie? It's good.
You, Me, and Everyone We Know? That was You, Me, and Dupree.
That's a very
Different
very
movies?
You, Me, and Irene.
What's
That's
the?
me, myself, and Irene.
Me, Myself, and Irene. There we go.
We're almost on the same page.
Yeah.
No, just one more.
There's
You-
a couple of those.
You, me, and what's it about? This other one. The
Ooh, it's very hard to describe actually.
more okay.
It can't
So-
be
We'll have to
harder
watch to
Exactly.
see.
It can't be harder to describe than Knives Out. That movie was dumb.
I thought you were gonna say than you and that girl going to that show because that was an easy
Have you guys seen Everything Everywhere All at Once?
Oh my god, I love that movie. It's so good.
I've actually heard a lot of people have that reaction, but I don't know that I've seen it.
It's good.
I like walked out of the theater and wanted to watch it again.
I just wanted an Everything bagel.
Yeah, oh god, I love that movie so much.
I just saw the Queen sticker. What were your thoughts on the Queen movie?
I didn't watch it.
Yeah,
Queen?
I've never seen it either. That was
Like
just,
Bohemian Rhapsody Queen, Freddie
Yeah.
Mercury Queen. Like
I
the
know.
guy who
Like my
did-
mom was telling me that she watched it and she thought I would be into it, but if they're not gonna make an R-rated Queen movie, then I don't really want to see it.
I mean, they made an R-rated Elvis movie.
Is it
Yeah,
already?
probably without all his like underage girl stuff.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's all the cocaine use that made it R-rated.
Yeah, it's not
All
that-
the
that's not that
cocaine
big a
use and
deal.
none of the truth.
the big deal is all the underage girls. I
Yeah,
think.
no, it's all the cocaine, none of that stuff.
Yeah, none of what he did when he was high.
Yeah,
on it.
don't cancel Elvis. You know?
You can't. I guess there's a statute of limitations on them canceling.
There's no statute of limitations over canceling.
Yeah.
I cancel Elvis.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one though. But so what's the name of the new record?
Somehow those were days.
Somehow
Oh, yeah.
those were days.
Oh, those are days. And
Is that a pandemic reference?
Maybe we were just all joking about something while we were recording, and our friend Curtis, who was there, was like, "Yep, somehow those were days," and we were all laughed pretty hard about it. And we're like, "That's a really good name of a record." It's
Yeah, I don't
called
remember
that.
what we were talking about. It was.
I don't remember.
I
what
mean,
we were
at a
talking
passing glance, that
Yeah.
feels like a reference to COVID-19 and the lost time.
about. It might have been before all COVID stuff, like maybe back in the day.
Yeah, I think you all were talking about some like Sanford stuff.
Probably.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I
Oh,
think
that
I know it. I remember it now. I think I was talking about a venue there that used to be called Roxy, and their bartender there would just like, he would leave to go buy cases of beer at the gas station, but he would like grab a kid in the venue and make them like be behind the bar to serve.
The bar,
Yeah.
the bartender. the
Yeah, they'd be
deputy.
like, you, and they're like 18 years old, put them on the bar to give out like beer to people.
I would have
And
been
then-
drinking.
yeah, because I
Coke
think you
behind, I
can
would've
serve
drank
beer when you're 18, but not liquor. Oh no, wrong.
And not in this
I don't know, man. It was Sanford, and it was like early 2000s. It was fucking weird.
Yeah, there were no rules.
Yeah.
Probably could still smoke in the bars.
Oh yeah. There was definitely smoking going on for sure.
Yeah.
So when's the record gonna be?
It'll be September. I don't know the exact date. It might be.
Like early September.
It's early
First or
September.
second week of September.
We'll say early.
My birthday's September 2nd, so it could be a little early.
It might be September 2nd. I don't want to say that.
No, it's
It'll be
okay.
wrong. It'll be early September.
And you guys have a little tour line for it.
Yeah, we're playing Fest this year, which is a festival down in Gainesville, and there's a lot of like punk bands and like indie rock bands and stuff, but there's also like
Like
comedy and
wrestling.
like wrestling.
Oh wow.
It's
Yeah,
great.
it's really cool. It's like probably some of the best shows we ever played was
Well,
down there.
Well, at least
It's
it'll be-
kind of like the same size as like hopscotch.
Oh, nice.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like the South by Southwest of the Southeast,
Yeah.
but primarily around like punk rock.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Damn. So a little less hot and muggy too, because it'll be September, October.
It'll still be somewhat.
Yeah, it's still
hot.
Florida.
Yeah, it's still
Yeah,
Florida.
you can't get the Florida,
Yeah.
right? Especially it's like what pretty north is our central.
It's
Gainesville,
like-
I think.
It's right. It's above Orlando.
Okay.
No, be wary of alligators and
Oh, yeah.
Florida Man.
Yeah. There's a
That's
band
all
called
of us.
Florida Man. I think they're playing Fest.
Probably should be.
Florida Man's playing Fest.
I think so.
You can't. Yeah, Florida man's always around.
Florida Man ate someone's face.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna forget that headline.
There's like what is that thing? Like you can Google like your birthday, and it's like your
Yeah.
Florida Man like personality or something.
There's always some crazy story every single time.
Yeah. I think the most common one is like the guy riding his lawnmower with a gator in his lap, like into the gas station or something. I don't know. It's
Gators are just
ridiculous.
pets there. Gators are just big dogs. So.
Yeah. Them and just giant pythons.
And any shows in the local area before you guys are gonna head out that way?
Yeah, we'll be doing a couple local shows here. Still trying to iron out some stuff, but one in Durham for sure. That'll be like the kickoff of the tour. Will be in Durham, and I believe there'll be a Raleigh date.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, I think it's gonna start off like October 25th,
Mm-hmm.
and tentatively,
Into
yeah,
November.
it'll be in Durham,
Yeah.
Okay.
but not
Cool.
still ironing out the details and which venue.
Yeah.
Sure thing.
And then once you guys know Raleigh too, definitely.
Yeah, please
you
let us
know.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Absolutely.
Come by your show.
I had only other question I really was thinking really mainly was like about the mixing and mastering for you guys stuff. Like, do you guys
Yeah.
have people you've been trusting the whole time, or?
Yeah. So basically, Aslan, who records all of our stuff, does the mixing, and then we send it to this guy Jesse Cannon, who's in New Jersey. He's absolutely worked on a bunch of stuff like with like The Cure and like
Like Animal Collective.
Animal
stuff.
Collective, and
Word.
like also done like stuff with Limp Bizkit and like some other like crazy, ridiculous, huge bands. But yeah, he's like super good guy. He's like quick, affordable. Like does his job really well. That's who we go with mastering and stuff.
Nice. And then shout outs if you guys want to shout anybody out. If you have anybody in mind.
Thanks to anybody who gives a shit about our band.
Yeah.
And been supporting us.
I guess to Mike, he's not here.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you, Mike, for.
He's not gonna listen to this.
I don't
my
know.
heart more.
We'll tag him. We'll throw a Mike know on Instagram.
I'll have you know our readership is high, sir.
Yeah.
Be listening now.
Youth League Forum. Everybody will be listening. You know, it's okay. Mike, we'll get around to Mike. We'll put the clip up just so he knows.
Don't worry, I'll get ransomware
Just-
on his computer. And
Just
the
do
only
a
way
part
that
two
he'll-
with just him.
Yeah.
Oh, super awkward.
Yeah, it's like, your bandmates came by and said some pretty harsh things about you.
I know you haven't heard them yet, but here they are. Make up a list. No, but yeah.
Yeah, let's start looking at East Coast West Coast beef.
Yeah, let's do it.
Damn.
No, but thanks to Aslan, thanks Curtis, thanks Ben Brown, and Ben Pellington, and Wiretap for putting our record. Will be coming out in September.
Word.
Word.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Thank you guys for coming by.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having us.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.